everyone, and welcome again to Holding Space with Dr. Christopher Barker. That's me. Thanks for holding space for me and with me. Today, we're going to continue our discussion of attachment styles, which it's a topic that profoundly influences our relationships with other people and the caregivers and the significant others in our lives. Attachment styles, if we can understand them, are essential, and they shape how we connect with other people, how we respond to intimacy, and navigate complexities of love and relationships. Okay, so what are attachment styles? We started talking about this last time. Attachment styles are patterns of behavior and emotional responses that we develop in relationships, and they're often rooted in our early interactions with our caregivers. Psychologists Mary Ainsworth and John Bowlby pioneered this theory, and people have been talking about it ever since. It's become quite popular, actually, especially when you talk about relationships, which we will be doing. They identified 4 primary attachment styles, and we started talking about secure attachment last time and what one needs to have, what is considered the best or the most ideal attachment. Secure attachment, but there's also anxious, avoidant, and disorganized attachments. Those were the primary ones. I think they've added another one since then, but let's go stick with the classics. Secure attachment, again, individuals with a secure attachment feel comfortable with intimacy. They are generally warm and loving. They establish healthy boundaries and communicate effectively. Ideally, this is what we want in a partner or in any kind of relationship that we have with anyone, whether it's a corner grocer or whether it's a wife or husband. Anxious attachment. Those with an anxious attachment style crave closeness, but they often worry about their partner's commitment. They're not sure that this is actually real, that this is going to work out. They may exhibit clingy behaviors and a heightened sensitivity to their partner's action. Frequently, people with anxious attachment styles are basically underneath everything saying, "Do you really love me? Do you really love me? How about now? How about now?" Avoidant attachment. Individuals with an avoidant attachment style value independence, and they often feel uncomfortable with too much closeness. They may struggle to express their emotions and can come across as distant. A disorganized attachment comes from, this is characterized by a lack of clear attachment behavior. They may display a mix of anxious and avoidant traits. They may seem clingy at times, and other times they may seem aloof, and that really is confusing when you're dealing with a person because you're wondering, where is this person coming from this time? What is this all about, and what does this mean for me? The origin of attachment styles, formed during childhood usually, we can continue to develop them throughout life. As we've often discussed, nobody is permanently set in stone. So again, caregivers' response to a child's needs are critical. Secure attachment develops when caregivers are consistent and responsive, but anxious attachment arises from inconsistent caregiving. We're never really sure if mom's going to come with a bottle. We're never really sure if dad's going to be there. We're not sure. And this is at the root of complex trauma, as I mentioned in an earlier podcast. Avoidant attachment often results from caregivers who are emotionally unavailable, leading children to suppress their need for closeness. You don't want to feel close to somebody that you know is not going to reciprocate. So subtly, we learn, this is not going to do any good, so I'm just not going to attach. Disorganized attachment usually occurs in environments with trauma or fear, where you're not really sure, again, what's happening now, and that can leave children confused about their relationships. And their relationships with the caregivers. Are they coming? Are they going? I'm just going to step back. Sometimes I'm going to try and reach out, but I don't know if it's always going to work out. Research shows that these early experiences shape our expectations and our behaviors in adult relationships. This lays the foundation for how we connect with other people. The impact of mixed attachment styles, which is something that you'll read a lot about in various sources, but we're going to continue talking about this, and next time we're going to talk about it in even more detail, because it does have a significant impact. In relationships, partners often exhibit different attachment styles, and somehow it seems like we're always attracted to somebody who is of a different attachment style than we are. If you have a secure plus an anxious attachment, which sometimes happens, a secure partner can provide reassurance, stability. They help the anxious partner feel more secure in the relationship. This combination can foster growth and emotional intimacy, It can also be kind of exhausting for the secure attachment person because, again, you have an anxious attachment person who is saying, well, do you really love me? This is called co-regulation, and we will talk more about that when we talk about how we can be there for other people who need emotional regulation. But some people self-regulate, and that's really cool. It's great. If you can do that, you can just like pull yourself together. Some people need somebody else with them to regulate. Sometimes this is seen as codependency. Sometimes this is seen as healthy, but it really depends on if you're with someone and they understand where you're coming from and there's a mutually agreed upon pact that I'm going to need you sometimes to help me figure this out. And if you're able to do that, and if the other person is willing to be there for you, then that can be a very growthful combination. Secure and avoidant. A secure partner may help the avoidant individual feel safe enough to open up, but if the avoidant partner feels overwhelmed, they may withdraw, and this can create tension. Anxious and avoidant. This pairing is really pretty common. I see a lot of this. This often leads to a push-pull dynamic. The anxious partner feels closeness, and they seek closeness, while the avoidant partner may retreat, leading to frustration and miscommunication. And this is what you see most often with the co-regulators and the self-regulators is, I want to be close to you, I need to be close to you, you didn't call me on time, you didn't text back right away, is everything okay? And then the avoidant person is probably just over there doing their thing and perfectly fine, but eventually they start to get kind of worried and tired because it's like, now I feel like I have to respond every time he texts because then if I don't, then he's going to worry about me. And sometimes this gets in the way. I guess you're probably hearing me say this and going, oh, I always get in the way with me. But yeah, it probably would. Disorganized attachment in relationships. When both partners have disorganized attachment styles, they may struggle with trust, leading to chaotic interactions, emotional instability. These combinations highlight the importance of self-awareness and communication in relationships. This, I keep saying over and over again, is really important. Understanding yourself and being able to communicate about yourself is really important. Recognizing our attachment styles and those of our partners can help us navigate challenges and foster healthier connections. Navigating relationship styles with different attachment styles foster healthier relationships. It's important to, again, practice self-awareness. This can come through therapy. This can come through introspection. A lot of people meditate on their own style. They meditate upon their past and they're able to steady themselves. It influences our sense of well-being. Communicate openly is another thing that I highlight often. We should be able to talk about anything. And I do encourage that with people. You can talk about anything. You can say anything. And I say this over and over again when I'm doing these podcasts, is it's okay to be you, and it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to have all your feelings. And again, something that we don't hear that often. Open communication can alleviate misunderstandings. Well, why did you say that? Well, I was just talking about the weather. And it can develop trust. Because once you have someone who doesn't know or hasn't been exposed to how to build trust, if you have someone who's able to realize this, and if you're able to communicate that you have a lack of trust, it really helps to build on a foundation. It creates a foundation if it's not already there. You can seek professional help. You can go to a therapist, such as myself or anybody else that you may choose. We can help you understand why these things have happened, sometimes by working backwards and understanding what the early relationships are like. I frequently do this with people. We will talk about, okay, this is what was going on, and this is what we can do about it, but let's see where it comes from. I really believe that understanding the origin of our behaviors and the origin of our relationships and how we feel when we're entering into a relationship makes a huge difference in our ability to move forward. With a good therapist, you may find yourself having frank and open conversations. You may find yourself at times completely confused, but it's important to keep talking. Let me insert another commercial here for have a therapist that you feel really comfortable with. You won't feel comfortable with everybody, and that's okay. It's kind of like dating in a way because you try out a relationship with somebody, you communicate with them. If you feel like you're not getting anything back, or if you feel like the other person is not really there for you, then yeah, you're probably going to want to move on and try somebody else. And honestly, I encourage people that if you're feeling a connection with me, that's wonderful, that's great. If you're not feeling a connection, it's okay to try somebody else, or let's try and fix what we have. Fixing what we have is the whole basis of communication and the whole basis of working out these different attachment styles. Cultivate emotional intelligence. Developing emotional awareness can enhance your ability to manage your reactions and respond thoughtfully to your partner's needs. Emotional intelligence is awareness of what you're feeling. We don't teach children the names of feeling. They learn it. They pick it up as they go along. I mean, I can't think of anybody who sat down and said, okay, now when you hurt, it feels like this. Or when you are sad, it feels like this. We learn from facial expressions. We learn from verbal behaviors. As Noam Chomsky used to say, we crack the code. And that works for language, and it also works for emotional intelligence. Developing emotional intelligence is probably something we're going to be touching on from time to time. But developing the awareness, developing the ability to communicate about it, developing the ability to talk about where things come from requires a certain amount of courage. It requires a certain amount of ability to look inside yourself. It requires being able to be okay with the idea of change and the idea of looking inward. I myself, I have a therapist, and most therapists have therapists, and some of the things that we do examine are, where did this come from? Where's the history of this? How did I get this way? Sometimes we do things called inner child work, where we talk to our younger selves and we find out, well, what are you missing? It's almost as if you have little you right beside you and you're able to look at them and say, well, okay, so like what's missing in your life? What do you need now? And if you're able to do this, and if you're able to like really conceive of this, some people think it's really silly and they don't want to do it, but really I encourage you to try. If you're able to look at your younger self and say, what do you need? What are you not getting? When did you not get that? You'll understand some of the roots of this attachment style. You'll understand the roots of why, when you look at someone, you feel something. You'll understand why, when you look at someone, you don't feel other things. I think it's really important that we examine everything that's going on inside. And it's hard to do. I will tell you this, and I understand it's hard to do for you. But without this, we just go on acting out a drama that's going on inside our head. We go on, I don't mean drama in a derogatory way. I mean acting out a story of how things are. I know how you're going to respond to me. You don't. Not always. We learn through history. Yeah, I have some idea of what you're going to do, but you, like I am, are unpredictable, developing, growing. And it's sometimes important to understand that we don't always have all the answers. We don't have psychic abilities. We don't have the ability to understand what's going to come next, always. We can pick it up, and we can grow, and we can learn, and relationships teach us a lot. But again, understanding your roots can sometimes lead to a lot of understanding of why we're doing what we're doing now. So this is my discussion of the roots of attachment theory and the basics on it. Next time, we're going to be talking with a colleague of mine about some of the things that we see happening in therapy. She's a very accomplished therapist and one of my former students. And I think we're going to be able to examine some hairy situations that may arise and what we might do in response to them. As always, look for our email address and write in with questions and comments. Some people are, and it's really good to have that kind of guidance and feedback. And whether it's positive, negative, or if you have an idea of, hey, why don't you talk about this? I will be glad to entertain that idea. Because, I mean, after all, it's all part of who we are. And my holding space for you means I hold space for that too. Thank you for holding space for me now, and I will see you next time. Thanks.